Hey guys, how's it going? It's the Crypto Analyst here, and I hope all of you guys are having a good morning, evening, wherever you guys are from. And welcome back to the Crypto Analyst live stream where we go over technical analysis, we talk about the market sentiment, and then I give my thoughts on what the market is going to do. Now, I also do take requests from you guys, the viewers, the audience, the community, and we go through what kind of technical analysis and whatever questions you guys might have as well. So we usually have a pretty fun time with these. I get to answer a lot of questions. I get to engage and interact with you guys a lot. So I think it's going to be a pretty good time tonight. Even though the market has been very dull in the recent days, I think that we could be in for a little bit of a fun live stream as the price has just started moving recently back up to resistance. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure all of the settings are right and send this out to the correct people. And then we are going to move on from there. So I think we're good here. What's up, everybody? To make sure I shut this off. YouTube changed a little bit of the things around on me, so I gotta make a new makeshift way on how I'm gonna do this. Alright, so what we're gonna do first of all is, of course, send this out to everyone that needs it. Send it out to everyone in the Discord. And I think we're good to go. So what's going on, everybody? I just opened up chat so I can only see recent ones. If anyone said hi, what's up, how are you doing? I see Abdullah, great to have you. What's up, my dude? AD, great to have you. So yeah, let's talk about this a little bit. I guess we can give people a little bit of time to join before we really start breaking this down. But for the most part, BTC has been very boring in the recent days. And some people can argue that it hasn't. And I don't know, personally, I just really haven't seen a good reason to be trading Bitcoin, right? Why would you trade? Well, first of all, I don't really see a good reason to trade crypto at the current moment. Well, it could be setting up a really good opportunity here, and actually something that I've been saying for a while now. Yeah, oh my god, actually it is as we're talking. That's actually really good. All right, so we're going to be going over that on stream for sure. But yeah, so here's the thing. Why would you be trading Bitcoin when you could be trading a lot of the altcoins right now? Again, it's like a mini alt season. There's I was listening to Daniel 4K today, and he was talking about it, and he was like, well, why would you be trading Bitcoin when you could be trading altcoins? And you can literally just go from trading one, and then all the money leaves that altcoin, and then it goes into something else, and then you can just trade that one, and then it goes all the way into something else, and like all the altcoin money is kind of circulating at the moment, and it's created a really good trading environment for the altcoins. So I guess we'll give it a little bit more time before we go into this too deep, because I do want people to be able to join. But yeah, Poker Throat, what's up? Great to have you. Pasta Boys, great to have you in here. Take a drink of water before we get this thing kicked off. What's up, everyone? So yeah, there's one really big thing that we're going to be taking a look at here. Well, I guess it's more than one thing, but one main concept idea that we're going to be taking a look at here, something I talked about on the Patreon a couple of days ago. So Poker, you'll definitely know what I'm going to be talking about here, and that's part of the reason as to why we're doing, well, I really didn't know until I started up the live stream, but we are setting ourselves up for a beautiful move on Bitcoin, and I am very excited to get to talk about it now. Sean, great to have you. Laszlo said, yo, how's XRP looking? I'll tell you what, we'll take a look at it next. We'll go to Bitcoin to XRP for you. So now that people are joining, let's go ahead and break this down. What is happening on Bitcoin, really the price action of Bitcoin here? So of course I have all my normal stuff up here, the oscillators, indicators, my EMAs, and my volume. And looking at this, I need to adjust that just a tad. Looking at this, this is really just a giant channel. Now this is something I've talked about before, but Sean, great to have you. Albert, great to have you. Past $20,000 very soon. I mean, I'd love that. Setting up for a bull run, overall, yes. In the short term, not at all. and we're going to be talking about that. So overall, guys, this really just is a rising parallel channel, otherwise known as a bear flag. So what you have over here is a Class A combo of bear pull, bear flag combo. And the reason I get that over here is our bear pull, and then here is our bear flag. And the way that this works is this red, this red giant red candle is the bear pull, and this whole channel is the bear flag. And so since it's a rising channel, this is really what makes up the bear flag. I'm not sure why that was off so much, but this is what it should look like. So it's a very nice parallel channel. You can kind of see the heart line. If we were to actually use the parallel channel tool here, you could see the heart line going like right through the middle of this thing, and then this thing just riding the heart line up here. And so what you can expect is that, with this thing getting close to resistance, we can expect that there would be some sort of double or triple or some sort of divergence setting up towards the bearish side. Because if this is a bear flag and we're getting towards the top of the bear flag, which is resistance, and with this being a bearish formation pattern, what I can expect is that we're going to be entering into kind of some sort of bearish scenario. And so immediately when I see this, I'm going to be looking for potential bearish divergence, which is something that I have been looking for like a week now. And I've just been waiting patiently for it to hit in. Again, I didn't see any reason to be trading this area at all. You have, like, again, the wicks in here. I don't like them. And the bottom ones are kind of justified, but for the most part, I'm going to zoom this in so you guys can see it better. But for the most part, like, I just saw absolutely no reason to be trading this area whatsoever. I would just rather wait patiently. Like, you could, the way I labeled it in Patreon is that you could enter a very risky long here, or maybe this was for something else, but I basically was talking about how you can enter a very risky long here only to short this a little bit higher, or you can enter a short here, but you could just probably enter the short higher. So, like, why would you enter either of those positions in this area? They're both risky and just kind of silly areas to enter in. Maybe you can make some scalps, but, like, overall, this is what I was waiting for. So when I'm looking at this over here, I would expect some sort of divergence like I was talking about. So let's go ahead and take a look at it on the MACD. Now, this, again, was something I was highlighting on the Patreon. It actually is working out really well right now. And so what I was talking about is over here. Well, this is, I don't know if this was, I don't know why this got moved. Maybe that was for the 1 day. But basically, yeah, over here you had double bullish divergence on your MACD. But I said overall this wasn't a big deal because what this was doing is actually setting us up for double bearish divergence on our MACD. And I think this was supposed to be for the daily chart, actually. Yeah, it was. But yeah, so overall what this was just setting us up for overall was this double bearish divergence. So again, you could have said, okay, well, this is double bullish divergence. I would say overall this doesn't really matter. This is already getting played out. This is already mostly done with. So now you're about to have double bearish divergence on your MACD 1 day. You're about to have double bearish divergence on your RSI 1 day. You're about to have double bearish divergence on your MACD 4 hour. You're about to have, what is this? Okay, I thought it was triple. You're about to have double bearish divergence over here. I mean, I drew this up days ago. I literally drew this thing up on March 17th, 16th. And today, so this is 4 days ago I drew this up. And I said, this is what's going to happen. It's been playing out so well so far. But yeah, so basically setting up, depending on how you want to look at this, as either quadruple bearish divergence on your RSI or as double bearish divergence. If you want to count the last 2 swing highs over here, then it would be quadruple. If you just want to count this one, which I understand, it would be double bearish divergence. No matter really what way you look at this, it's just straight up bearish in this point in time. Not to say that it can't go higher, it can't break this, but looking at these things again, very bearish on your RSI. It's bearish on your 1 day chart and your 4 hour chart, which is not a good combo. And your stochastics is actually rounding up here pretty high, and it's not rounding off yet. But this thing, we can move this down to 1 time scale, or maybe even 2, and we'll see if this and so this is starting to round off on our 2 hour, which would lead me to believe that this thing would be getting ready to round off in this area, if not a little bit higher over here on your stochastics. So as we keep pushing up over here, again, this does continually make me a very, very bearish scenario. It's very possible, it is possible that we kind of just break through this area and maybe we do form a higher high, but like I just don't see it very likely. I see us rounding off in this area. I said that about 4 days ago on the Patreon. We're just now getting into the zone, and if it rounds off anywhere in the circle, I think it would be just textbook to me. For me, this is just a pattern I've seen a lot, and it's just nothing new. So it would be, you know, a very, and again, you're getting close to resistance as well on your candle chart itself. So putting all these factors together, what does this mean for the macro of Bitcoin? Well, I do think that this means that, personally, my thoughts on this are that we get actually rejected from this area over here, and we kind of head back down. Now, I think we hit the heart line maybe, and then we just keep falling. Now, I think that we fall to the bottom of this bear flag. Whether or not we hold the bottom of the bear flag is a different story, because what we'll do is if we actually get into this area over here around the bottom of the bear flag, what this does is sets us up for this nice area over here of previous consolidation, support, and resistance being used as support in this area. So I think it is going to be a little bit of a difficult one to break, and really one of two scenarios are going to be very likely over here. The first one is that you actually bounce off of all this consolidation and the bottom of this rising channel, and you actually see yourself come back up towards the top of this ascending triangle. If that is the case, that is a very good scenario, because what this allows you to do is test this for the third, you know, maybe fourth relative time over here, and with this thing being about 50% of the way through, or if not more, this could very well break out. And of course, as I've said before, if this was to break out, I think your next stop's around $5,500. However, this is a bear flag, and if this is respected and this does fall out of a bear flag like bear flag should, I think you're coming right back down to previous consolidation area support, or you're coming back down to the bottom of support over here. And so this is the main thing for me, and when I'm looking at this, is that I would love, like in a perfect world, textbook world, I would love to see this thing come back down over here, bounce a little bit around, you know, and then just, you know, well, maybe not like that, but basically go like this, and then break out here. So let me go ahead and zoom out and show you guys like kind of like what this would look like. So hopefully paint something like this and then lead to our breakout. I think in a perfect world, that's really what I would like to see on Bitcoin. I think it'd be very clean, very nice, and just very textbook. I think it'd make a whole lot of sense as well. So yeah, that's really what I see happening. I guess really the two scenarios that I see happening. I think over here, it's not to say that we can't just break out from this point. However, there are a lot, and that's not an understatement. I could be wrong. You know, TA is not set in stone, but looking at this area right here, there is a lot of bearish divergence everywhere on your candle chart, on your literally well, your volume's not too bad, on your candle chart, on your MACD, your RSI, and your stochastics. Like, it's just not looking too hot for the most part, but you know, we'll see. Let me go ahead through and read a little bit of questions before I go too deep into here. Miguel says only a few more years to go. It's actually pretty funny. Yeah, dude, just, I mean, I'll be holding Bitcoin for years, so it doesn't matter to me. Lazo says patience is a virtue in for crypto. I agree. Patience is a virtue in all kinds of trading. Recently, I've been learning how to trade futures contracts for like indexes and things like that. So like S&P, NASDAQ, crude oil, I guess commodities too. And I'll tell you what, dude, patience, you use patience just as much there as you do in crypto. I think in crypto, though, anyone who was around in 2017, 2018 really learned the lesson of patience via FOMO and FUD and hodling, and like that's how a lot of us learned patience, was during times like that. But dude, it's a virtue in anything, especially trading. I am waiting for XRP to go to. I lived in Ukraine, but it's been a long time, and I do not know what that word means. Hopefully, it means to the moon. So you guys are all hyped up on XRP. How about we just go right to XRP after this? Jalen says, "What's up, brother man? How much longer is this boring accumulation phase? 3 months seems predictable. Honestly." What's this? March, April, May, June? Yeah, I think so. I think that this thing could definitely last until sometime into 2020 if we don't turn it around this summer. But if we can turn it around this summer, then I think that we could definitely see this accumulation phase end around June, July area. However, again, it's very possible that this goes into 2020, and it's just going to be to stop people out, to bore people out, and yeah. Infinity. Love XRP, but it's not the best It's not the best for TA charting. Yeah, I can agree with that. Recently, though, it's been pretty cool. So yeah, that's the overall. Let's go ahead and switch this to the 1 day. If you guys have any questions on this, feel free to ask, and I will come back to it. But for the time being, I'm going to go ahead and put this up here. You guys can see the overall. I guess really the only thing that we have in our way between 5.5K is really our 200 EMA on our 1 day chart. Besides that, dude, like you look at this, and it's like I've said a million times before, you look at this and like, where's the resistance? It's just not there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and take a look at XRP because everyone seems to be very, very hyped for XRP. For those of you guys who are just tuning in, basically I was talking about how bearish of a scenario that we were setting ourselves out to be. Actually, maybe looking at even, well, I would say it's not so much triple. This is more so like double bearish. I mean, you could kind of say it's triple bearish divergence. But, dang, because like, I guess you could just do this, right? Oh, yikes. Yeah, that doesn't look good either. I didn't even see that. So yeah, looking at this, very, very bearish divergence here. Your 1 day is rounding off. That's on a 1 day chart. Jeez, that's not good to see. You're rounding off and heading downwards here. Your RSI is doing the same thing over here. On your 4 hour, you have double to quadruple bearish divergence over here on your RSI. Your MACD is doing the exact same thing over here, and double bearish divergence. So that's basically the very short recap of where I think Bitcoin is going. And that is to the bearish downside for the short term, and then the midterm, I think it's going to round back up off support. Looking at good old XRP to the USD. Now, this is something I have been talking about in Discord, especially in Patreon. I'd been saying, like, this is just one of those things that I think is just going to bust a cap. However, there is just no good entry around here, because this thing, if you guys look, ever since what, like, ever for the past week, this thing has just been riding the EMAs. Yes, you do have a golden cross on your 4 hour, which is all the thing. I think I even said this in my recent YouTube video, that this thing was prime to just take off. However, since it's in such a risky area, and since you have wicks like these and this and this and like, what even is this? And things like this. Like, I do not want to leverage something like this. It is like here's another example, like this. Like, I do not want to leverage XRP for this reason. Because this stuff can be even worse on things like BitMax and on leverage exchanges. So if I was leveraging this, this is how you get yourself liquidated or stopped out, and just like over and over again. So what I did is, I was telling the Patreons today, I have purchased XRP and I'm holding it that way, but I will not be leveraging it, at least not for the time being. If I see a better opportunity, then yes, I'll leverage it, but like, there's no, like, it's just too risky. Like it's self-explanatory seeing all the wicks in here. It's no fun. It's not worth the risk for me. I'd rather just, you know, hodl it. I mean, sure, you could go like 1 or 2 or 3x leverage or something, but I don't know. I'm just not interested. I'd rather not play this game. I have a bad history with leveraging XRP. But yeah, so I think for the macro, though, of XRP, I think this thing's, you know, primed to freaking cannon fire out of here. Maybe we see it in this live stream. I think that this thing has been on a daily chart. You can see it very clearly. This thing has just been forming consecutively and consistently higher lows on your daily RSI. Very bullish thing. Triple bullish divergence over there. Very bullish over here. And on your MACD, I don't know. It's really not showing much of anything. It's very small. And on your MACD, you have to be careful actually that you don't set up for double bearish divergence. Actually, for all of this, the only thing that has me concerned about XRP not breaking out here is whether or not Bitcoin dumps. Because if Bitcoin pumps up a little bit more here, it might be able to just break out XRP. However, if Bitcoin dumps here, it makes me very concerned that XRP is going to have to follow the trend, because Bitcoin is king. You know, we see the altcoins and everything kind of not following Bitcoin and just doing their own thing, but I'm worried that if Bitcoin does dump, XRP, it could hesitate or slow down or prohibit the breakout of XRP itself. This thing has been in a giant pennant now, a symmetrical triangle, since January of this year, and I think that it's about time that all this pressure gets released one way or another, of course, with me leaning towards the upside. However, if Bitcoin dumps off a cliff here, you really don't want to see that pressure trigger towards the downside, because it would be, it would be brutal, because this is such a good opportunity. But we'll see how it plays out. Top of the bull market, April 2023, July 2023 to July 2023. Fair enough. That makes sense to me, honestly. I'm fine with that. Nothing bad to say. Slice Keeper, what's up, Brendan? Can you peek at Cardano? Is it even worth worrying about a retrace right now? I actually just did a write-up for the Patreons on Cardano, so I am more than capable. Howard Lee says, can we look at XRP to BTC? Yeah, we can. Let's go ahead and do that because we're already on XRP. XRP to BTC. Let's give her a look. Sorry, I got a little bit of phone call. XRP to the BTC, your oscillators are getting higher lows. Ooh, I kind of like this. Essentially just saying higher lows over here in this area. I don't think it looks too bad. This is the main thing though, which... So let's see if we can't draw this. This is going to be a little bit ugly. Where do we even start here? Charting XRP to the BTC is really freaking hard because of like just how choppy it is. I don't even know if I should include these wicks. I don't think I should. Maybe, I don't know. Dude, that's hard. So it's very hard. I would say though, overall, I think this is, one way or another, this is either a falling wedge or a falling channel. And either way, those are both bullish things. So a bull flag or a falling channel or a falling wedge, they're all bullish formation continuation patterns. So any of those in here would really be a good thing, and I think it's pretty clear that it's forming one of the two. I mean, you can see price being squeezed. And so all that these things are the concepts. They are the concept that this thing is getting squeezed into a downwards motion, and that's really what you're seeing happen over here, with the price definitely contracting, as we can see overall, contracting towards the downside here, and also squeezing a little bit more so, ever more so over in here. And so when this happens, again, this generally, since this is a falling squeeze formation, whatever you want to call it, a wedge, channel, whatever, this this usually breaks out towards the upside, because that's just how these falling squeezes work. So as even as messy as this is, I would say definitely you need to test your 200 EMA, which doesn't even look like it's being respected anywhere in here, with the exception of here, which might just be a coincidence. But I think for the most part, break and hold over your 200 EMA and over this, probably somewhere around this resistance line. It might be better if we just do something like this. It might be better. But I think you guys get the picture. So yeah, I mean, I think that if anything, this thing definitely could. Not to say that it can't go off a cliff again. And when did this reach lows? September of 2018. This thing bottomed out with Bitcoin evaluation. I mean, it really hasn't had a run in a long time either, XRP. But let's take a look at Cardano. John Smith says, hello everyone. Jalen says, my name is Neo. Sold my ANS too soon. Those were the days. ANS. Is that supposed to be like a crypto abbreviation? Miguel. Jalen says, Brendan, what's your crypto portfolio looking like? Top 6. I would say right now, Bitcoin, XRP, Cardano, Pundi, That's 4. EOS and maybe like Stellar Lumens or a Mise Go or something. I would say those. Brandon Stevens. Okay. Bro, you have no idea what you are saying. Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. XRP to BTC looks better, but I'm afraid BTC price influences it too much. So, as a general rule of consensus, I would say that the US dollar evaluation is more important than the Satoshi, than the BTC evaluation. They both are important, but generally when I am doing TA, I rule that the USD pairing has a higher, I don't know, hierarchy. It's up on the hierarchy further than the BTC pairing. So if I have to make a judgment and it's the USD versus the BTC, I will go with what the USD says rather than the BTC thing, because the US dollar pairing drives the BTC dollar pairing. And so the BTC pairing is directly relative to the USD price of Bitcoin. And so if the USD price of Bitcoin goes down and the USD price of Cardano stays the same, the Satoshi value of Cardano, the BTC value of Cardano will go up, because all it's saying is that in relative to Bitcoin, that's how many Satoshis it is. So even if the price of Cardano does not move, but the Bitcoin price moves down, then it will gain BTC or Satoshi value even though the USD price hasn't moved. So that's where it kind of gets complicated because that's why it's a lot harder to really do BTC pairings, but it makes sense. So generally that's why I rule USD over BTC when I'm doing TA. But they're both good, and I look at them both, especially on Cardano. So with Cardano, I think it's important to look at both here because it's very unique, important. Let me read your chat. XRP BTC looks better, but I'm afraid BTC... Okay, yeah. I think I just answered that one. John Smith says, Brendan, good question. Oh, wait, what was a good question? Uh-oh, I don't even know what the good question was. ANS, Ant Shares. Oh, I know Ant Shares. Rebranded to Neo. Yeah, I remember Ant Shares. Oops, I meant Jalen. No Litecoin? Yeah, we can go through Litecoin right after this. I have all of that except Omise Go and EOS. Yeah, no worries, man. I think yeah, that's fine. When do you think XRP will break out? Very soon. Very soon. I don't know, I would say within the next couple of days. I think it's trying to already. The pressure's so strong in there. It's getting squeezed so hard. You can see that it's just kind of like rumbling like a volcano. Like it's like having those like spews of volcanic come out right now. And that's what you're seeing with all the wick action. Timehawk says, hey, very good question, or very good point, bro. Thanks, dude. Charlie Hawkinson tweeted about Shelly 1.5 release. Ooh, please explain more, Jalen. So I picked up XRP at 31 USDT. Watching your last video so far, it's been going up. Good to hear, man. My what I say should never have an impact on whether you buy or sell, because I can't tell you what to do with your money. I'm not your financial advisor, but it's good to hear that you're gaining money, and hopefully used it for educational purposes. Am I right? So let's look at this. So with Cardano over here, I think it's a lot of the same story. You have a giant symmetrical triangle and a pennant. However, this one actually broke towards the upside. Now this one was very clean because you had 1, 2, 3, 4 touches on support. You had really like 1 to 2 touches over here, 1 touch over here, 1 touch over here, 1 touch over here, and then the breakout. So you really had about 4 touches on both support and resistance before this guy broke out. It was about, I would say, 85% of the way through the formation when it did break out. And when it did break out over here, obviously this thing has just been running, and now that it's approaching its previous high, it's starting to hit a little bit of resistance, which makes sense. However, this thing could honestly keep running until somewhere around this point, so this thing could still have a long ways to go in US dollar evaluation, and I think this is much of the same story with Bitcoin. Really, once you get above this area, it doesn't have a lot of resistance, so if it can break free here, what is stopping it? Honestly, anywhere anything from in here, what's stopping it from going up in this area? And the answer is really not much, if anything at all. And so a lot of this is the same story of Bitcoin. Let me go ahead and delete this guy. So yeah, if it can break this area, dude, I don't see why it can't keep running. Looking over here on your MACD, it's looking like it's setting up for double to triple bearish divergence. Right over here, double, triple, whatever you want to call it. Again, I say whatever you want to call it because some people are like, well, you can't include this, and then other people are like, well, you can include that. And so, you know, if you like it, if you don't want to, you know, if you count this as triple, then count it as triple. Either way, it's bearish divergence one way or another. So at the end of the day, you know, make yourself happy. Over here, it's the same thing. If you round over here, it's not a good scenario at all. Yeah, so if you round over here, double bearish divergence here, not a good scenario, not something I want to be long in. And what does that look like on the 1 day? And it actually doesn't look bad at all on the 1 day. And on your stochastics, if you round here, it's a lower high. And again, it's basically the same thing with the RSI, not something you want to see. So that's what it looks like on the USD. And so that's the thing, is like, yes, your oscillators and indicators are saying bearish, but in theory, like, all it needs is like one little break towards the upside here, and then it's pretty much home free, like, right? So you can choose which one you want to bet on, but you know, it's hard. It's hard because you have conflicting readings. Your TA says above this range there's really not that much resistance, but your, you know, indicators and oscillators are saying, hey, this thing is losing like all of its, you know, this bullish momentum that it's had is pretty much disappearing. And the bears are gaining momentum. Over here on your Bitcoin evaluation, you actually have a really nice, really nice situation set up. So over here, what you actually have, and this is one of the things that I mentioned on Patreon tonight, if you guys want to get more you know, more technical analysis from me, go ahead and take a look at the Patreon. I actually just did right before the stream a write-up on both Cardano and for XRP, talking about how both of those are potential breakouts. And I talked about how I was playing them, the areas that I was looking at, what I thought could happen, how the conflicting readings are, just stuff like that. It's like additional, really additional TA for me. I also say when I enter trades, so it's pretty cool. Not so people can copy me. Again, I have to say that because some people join just to copy my trades, but you know, I can't stop you from copying my trades. It's kind of the thing. But yeah, let's do this. So over here, you have a very clear and clean ascending triangle. You look at over here, you had 1, 2, 3, 4 touches on the top of your ascending, maybe even more than that, depending on where you start counting. But at least 4 touches on your ascending triangle resistance. Now, ascending triangles are a very bullish formation and continuation pattern. And with this over here, only having 2 touches on, I guess really 2 swing low touches on support, it makes me a little hesitant. Because over here you have 1 and you have 2. So the thing that makes me very hesitant here is usually you have at least 3. Like in the previous one, on the previous pennants that we saw, they have like, you know, 3 or 4. This one only has 2. And the previous ones broke out around, with everything getting squeezed so deep here, why couldn't this get squeezed even deeper? And so while this is about 75% of the way through, why can't this go 80-85% of the way through before it breaks out? So what I'm thinking over here is because, you know, a lot of this is the same situation. Bearish divergence over here. And over here, this is actually one of the main points that I brought up about even looking and wanting to short Cardano, to be honest, is the fact that you have very clear triple bearish divergence on your 4-hour RSI, and this is something that I use a lot. And so when I see stuff like this, it's usually telling me, hence the arrow right here, that this thing is, you know, more than likely coming down. Again, it still has plenty of time to contradict this, but I think that if it doesn't break a higher high on your RSI soon, then this thing is certainly wanting to come down, and you are losing levels of positive momentum over here. I think it's saying the exact same thing on your 4-hour stochastics. And this is really just all saying this is exhausted in this area. Now, the overall story of this is that that isn't a bad thing. We move this over to the 1-day chart. It's still an ascending triangle. It still looks very good, very clean. All this would mean to me is that you come down to either one of your EMA. We're actually getting rejected from the 200 EMA on our 1-day chart. I didn't even see that. So yeah, our 200 EMA on our one-day chart showing rejection over here. If you could close above it, it would be really good. But if we do get rejected here, I expect us to come down to the 50 EMA on the 1 day or one of the EMAs on the 4 hour. Hopefully even the bottom of support over here and then rally towards the upside. And that would be the big freaking move for me. Because what that would allow it to do is actually to gain more strength and momentum and to really kind of focus that pressure on the breakout rather than just trying to break through resistance. Yeah, I don't want that to be too confusing. But yeah, it would essentially allow this thing to have a larger upside is what I'm trying to say. Potentially. So here's what I said on Patreon. I said, you're in a really hard boat here because you can short, and I'll get the questions in just 1 second. But this is a really hard question, and you have to answer this for yourself. If you guys are enjoying the live stream, by the way, do not forget to hit the like button. And if you guys are not subbed already, hit the sub, and you guys can get more content like this. So, yeah. This is really only achievable, or really, you can really only take this one of two ways, and it's a very hard, risky situation either way. Option one is you can short the top of an ascending triangle that is, you know, more than 75% of the way through. So you can short the top of an ascending triangle that's more than 75% of the way through its formation pattern, and, you know, looking strong, kind of. And that's risky, right? Because it's a bullish formation pattern and you're shorting the top of it after it's touched it resistance 3 or 4 times. Option 2 is, option 2 is you can long resistance with all your indicators and oscillators saying that this is bearish. Switch it back to the 4 hour. So you can long here because it is an ascending triangle between 75%, around 75% of the way through, which is a bullish formation pattern. You can long resistance, which is already risky, but you're also saying that you're longing resistance with everything looking bearish. So it's really kind of a lose-lose. No matter how you look at this scenario, you can either long resistance with everything looking bearish, or you can short the top of a very bullish formation continuation pattern that has tested resistance 4 times. So, like, is it worth taking a position here? That's really the thing that you have to think about. Yo, Juan, thank you for the sub. Means a lot. Welcome to the crew. So that's the thing I was asking myself, you know, last night and today. I was asking myself, is it worth it for me to take a risk on this? You know, there really is no good area of an entry. Sure, I could leave. I think the short is the better option here. Why? Because I can keep a tight stop loss. The indicators and oscillators are telling me this is, you know, obviously very bearish, and it's a resistance. Yes, it could break out. Yes, it could go to the moon, but I think that this is a more bearish than bullish scenario for Cardano, at least to the Bitcoin pairing. So, based upon this BTC chart that, you know, Cardano's put up, I just don't think it's that bullish. I mean, the overall is bullish, but I think in the short term, if it doesn't break out of here soon, I think that this is definitely bearish. And I think you can kind of start seeing, like, the rejection over here. Moving onwards. Miguel says, wait for Tezos to go to 40 cents. Reload, wait patiently. I don't own any Tezos. Heard about it. Jalen says the Cardano blockchain Shelly 1.5 release. Oh, okay. I haven't looked at the news in a while. I just don't think that the news has really been driving price at all, so I just haven't been that into it. So if there's a USD and BTC pairing, if the USD pairing goes up and the BTC pairing also goes up, alts usually follow BTC. The BTC pairing most likely won't move. Just trying to confirm my understanding of it. So usually the reason why if your BTC pairing and your USD pairing goes up, it's because your USD, essentially your US dollar evaluation of Bitcoin is very volatile because it is an altcoin and it moves roughly around like anywhere from 2 to 10 times faster than Bitcoin. So with altcoins moving more substantially faster than Bitcoin, so does their Bitcoin in Satoshi value. And so that's why sometimes what happened actually, and this is how I learned this lesson, is very clearly in 2018, the beginning of it, when you had altcoins taking off and you had Bitcoin just staying the same, you had Satoshi values just being all screwed up. And people were like, well, what the heck? Because, you know, altcoins are taking off, but you see like the Satoshi value of them tanking. And so that was the problem, in that when in the beginning of 2018, when you had like the altcoin mega bull run, you had things that were like going like double X and, you know, 2-3x up in price, but their Satoshi value was tanking. And the reason for that was that their US dollar valuation was going up so fast while Bitcoin wasn't moving, and it caused the Satoshi value to crash. Now, generally, you don't have anything that is volatile enough to really do that anymore. However, if it moves, you know, volatile enough, you'll see that happen. And we saw that happen in 2017 and 18. Generally, you don't see that happen anymore because generally the BTC value does go up with the USD value now. Everything moves slower. It's lower market cap. And yeah. The BTC, I would definitely say go take some learning into it. You know, if anything I said was wrong, please hold me accountable. But it is a complex system. So definitely spend some time and just like checking it out for yourself. I feel like I always choke on stream every time I drink water. Jeez. Juan says, you're the man. Slice Keeper says, thanks, man. Oh, jeez. Juan says, alts are starting to catch on fire. I agree. When will Pundy X take off? I think it's just a matter of time, dude. Personally, I want to buy some more Pundy, and I want to buy more of a lot of things. Originally, my mission, so I had my mission of collecting all these altcoins that I wanted, like X amount of all these altcoins. And then I created a new conclusion that I wanted to trade up to 1 Bitcoin before I started collecting all these altcoins. And it hasn't been till recently that I've done that. So now that I've traded up to a whole Bitcoin, I guess it's time for me to start collecting altcoins. I do want to earn about, I think I want to earn about another half a Bitcoin before I start reaccumulating altcoins. Maybe that's a big mistake, but personally, I do want to accumulate about half a Bitcoin more, at least so I can have about 1 Bitcoin in my trading portfolio, and then I can just accumulate all the altcoins that I want to hodl. But yeah, so Pundy X, though, I think it's just a matter of time before Pundy X, you know, I personally think it's a great project, so I'm holding it, but, you know, that's just me. Bobby says wrong hold, dude, every time. Raven just went full retard. Let's check it out. Raven, I've been a part of Raven since like forever ago, dude. Oh my gosh. Oh, jeez. I don't know if retard's the right word for this. I think it's more like we hit the moon. We hit Mars. Turn around, we're going for the sun, boys. Yeah, I don't know, dude. This thing is taking off. Oh my gosh. I need to sell my Raven coin. Jeez. Go buy some Bitcoin. Raven, what's the USD value of it? Wow, about 4.6, 4.7 cents. Yikes, dude, that is yummy. That is juicy. We'll see that. Let's go ahead. You guys, we'll go ahead and take a look at Ethereum if you guys don't have any other requests over here. I have a lot. If you guys can't tell, I have a lot of stuff drawn up on Ethereum. Beast mode, Hulk mode, Lamau, 34 cents. It's gonna hit 10 cents. I mean, I don't know about 10, but I think it can definitely start hitting like 5, 6. McLovin. Dude, that's like my favorite name. Hey, crypto peeps, what's up, dude? So let's talk about the good old Ethereum. Looking over here at Ethereum to the US dollar, something that we have is, of course, you know, a very large range that it can be trading in over here. And you could see Ethereum getting very volatile in the coming days. However, let's actually go ahead and line this up. So kind of what was looking like an ascending triangle wicked up over here. It kind of makes sense as to why it stopped over here. Although this should be adjusted. Something like that. So what you over here kind of have over here is an ascending, broadening channel sort of formation, still kind of respecting this ascending triangle though. You know, really what you saw, which is kind of weird, again, it's so weird because you had like a very pretty nice ascending triangle forming over here. I don't know why this got messed up so much, but it should look more like that. And what you saw over here with this wick is that it wicked up and then just came right back down. And now it just got rejected from the resistance of the ascending triangle again. And now it's wicking up and kind of hitting resistance at the top of the ascending triangle again. So it's weird because it's still kind of using the ascending triangle. Does that mean that it breaks out again? Maybe. It's using very clearly support from the 50 EMA. However, if this breaks down, I would love to see a breakdown to support and then break this thing out again. Maybe if Bitcoin tanks, maybe that's what it'll do. If it breaks this support, I think it's heading, you know, past the 200 EMA right to the larger support. And of course, this is really just a bullish formation pattern inside of a bullish formation pattern over here. So I think the one thing that that you really need to be careful of is that you don't form a rising wedge. And you see that with the bottom green line and with this neon blue line. And so what that allows this to be actually, if this keeps forming, is a rising wedge. This red line is just showing that previous previous support area right here and right here are now being as resistance over here. Very clear that you're seeing it makes sense as to why we topped out over here. Previous support now used as resistance. And if we want to break the overall ascending triangle, the larger one, then we're going to have to contradict this rising wedge formation over here, because if we continue and extend this over here, you can see that this thing is very clearly forming a rising wedge with 1, 2, 3 touches on resistance and really 1 to 2 touches on support. And if this confirms this, and you know, it most likely would have a third touch point on support, if this is a rising wedge, it's not something you want to see in the overall span, especially if you're an Ethereum holder. What do I think of Dash? I've never bought Dash, and I don't have plans to. I wouldn't say like I hate it, but like I don't know, like why would I ever own it? I just don't see it. I'd rather hold other things. You know, I'd rather hold like Monero or something probably, to be honest. It's good, but like I'm not into privacy coins. That's just me. So over here on Ethereum, this one's actually rounding towards the upside. And I have a feeling this is going to look really bullish on a one-day chart when we pull it up here. Ooh. So what this tells me is that this is actually getting squeezed over here pretty well. Because you see this guy here, and you very clearly see, well, I don't even know if we can kind of draw this like that. You see this guy over here seeing consecutively lower high or lower or higher lows and lower highs. And so what this tells me is that your MACD is getting squeezed, which kind of can tell me that the price action is getting squeezed, which you can pretty clearly see over here as well. So if we're getting squeezed over here, it probably means that a decent sized move is coming soon. And honestly, your one-day RSI doesn't look too bad. I mean, it's just very neutral. Same thing with your stochastics. I mean, your MACD is very neutral too, but this is where the MACD kind of shines, in that we can see that it's higher lows, higher or lower highs, higher lows. And it looks like it's very weak towards the upside over here. And if we zoom this in, you can kind of see that. Very weak action. So, I don't know. Time will tell. Do I want to trade this range? Absolutely not. There's times where I'm making like a couple trades a day, where I'm trading like Bitcoin and then Ethereum. And there's times where I make like 100x, like 100%, not 100x, like 2x, 100% on trades. And then there's times like recently where I just haven't traded in what, 2 weeks? Probably about a week or two. Why? Because there's just, I'm a big guy. I compound. I'm a guy that goes in trades I believe in. I trade a larger amount on my portfolio than most people. Most people only trade like 2-3% of their portfolio. I trade significantly more than 1-2-3%. Why? Because I take trades that I believe in very well, and I have a very high win percentage on my trades. And yeah, so I don't know. I take less risky trades with a larger amount, and it, very rarely doesn't play out. That's just my trading style. I'm more of a swing trader. I think it's way easier to make money because it compounds too. Money compounds fast, especially when you're trading. And if you can minimize your losses in trading, that will literally be like the difference. Because so many people, they're trading 10 times a week, but they only win 6 or 7 of those trades, and then they're losing 3 or 4 of them, maybe 5 of them in a week. So if you're losing, if you're only winning like 60% of the time, like and you're paying fees on top of that, then like it sucks. So why would you rather not just take less trades, lower or essentially raise your profit margins? You pay less fees, you gain bigger amounts of money, and they're way safer. And so that's just the way I look at it. So I don't trade a lot. I don't take that like crazy risk trades. This just is not my zone. I just don't like this zone. I think it's ugly right in here. Looking at Litecoin, I think that's what one of the ones that we were looking at before we go back to BTC. Litecoin, I was actually tempted to short. I almost posted something about shorting it as well, and it's pretty clear why. But yeah, so let's take a look at this. Very clear, losing levels of positive momentum on your RSI, losing levels of positive momentum on your MACD, and this is on a daily scale, and you're pretty much rounding off on your RSI. Your RSI is at the highest point that it's been since April of 2018, and it's very clear that this thing is ready to have some sort of a retracement. Looking at this on the 4-hour, you can kind of see it as well. Over here, actually, it was showing like, so this is the thing that I didn't want to do, is it was kind of showing double bullish divergence on your MACD. It was showing essentially a form of bullish divergence over here on your 4-hour RSI. And it was, actually, well, so this was still pointing upwards. Now it's actually kind of rounding downwards. So now it makes me actually want to short Litecoin. But this was up against resistance pretty close. And this was in a... what was this? This was a rising wedge in an ascending broadening channel. And so that's how I had these areas over here. It was actually oh god. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit of inception, so stay with me here. Crypto Kiwi says, hey Brendan, nice to catch you live. Hope all's well. Yeah, man, everything's going great over here. Crypto's been slow, but I've just been focusing on teaching myself new things, new ways to trade. Day trading, I've been teaching myself a lot how to trade futures. I've just been learning like a lot of new cards to put in the book. So over here what you have is essentially an ascending broadening wedge within an ascending broadening wedge, and then you also have a rising wedge. So all three of those, no matter what you want to call them, they're all 3 bearish formation patterns inside of each other. The purple, the 2 blues, they're all bearish. Your indicators are bearish, your one-day chart is extremely bearish, and that's the reason that I wanted to short this. Much like the other things, I think that the overall one-day charts for this stuff is starting to slow down. They're starting to look more bearish, and that's why I think that if we don't, that's why I've been saying, if we don't break this soon, guys, it's not going to get better. One of my general rules of thumb here is that if there are not buyers at this area, this will go to a point where there are buyers, which is usually down because, for whatever reason, going up doesn't really make there more buyers. If you drop the price to where people are willing to buy it, that's how you create more buyers. And so if there aren't buyers in this area, it's going to go to a price where there are buyers. So again, I'm not in any leverage trades here. It wouldn't surprise me if this thing just exploded like a mountain towards the upside. But like, I think overall that this thing is bearish. So where would I expect this to go? Probably probably to support, hit the 50, go through the 50 EMA on your 4-hour, go hit support over here, hit your 200 EMA, hit support over here. If you keep falling, I mean, you have support everywhere. I don't know. I just feel like I have this odd feeling that we're going to see like the market tank soon, and people are going to be like, bro, what the hell happened? And I'm going to be like, you can't say the signs weren't there. You know, maybe I'm wrong, and we never even, it keeps pumping and we never ever hit this low again. But like, dude, just make sure you guys are staying careful here with your trades, because the moral of the story tonight is looking at this stuff. The overall macro is bullish, but like the short term of this stuff could definitely see like a hefty downside. And I know that's not what people want to hear. People are probably going to leave the stream right after I said that, but like, just be careful. Like, just, I'm not telling you to short it. I'm not telling you to long it. All I'm saying is just be careful here. What about Litecoin to the BTC? LTC, BTC? Jeez. Like, again, just be careful. Just be careful. I don't know how else to say this, but this is a massive... When's this from? All the way back from December. This is a massive rising wedge. Support, it can... I mean, just be careful here. It breaks the 50, we're in trouble. You saw that wick come down, wicked right off support real fast, trying to keep this thing up. But, you know, this is Litecoin to the BTC pairing. Last thing you want to see is this thing drop off to the 200 EMA. So I guess if this were to enter and really were to fall over here, where would I imagine it goes? Probably towards somewhere in this range. That would be, I guess, my ideal drop range for this thing. I think anywhere in there, it would probably bounce. Maybe it's just for the short term before it heads somewhere down here, but overall, I think it's hard to argue that this thing is like crazy bullish. Looks like it's setting up for a very clear triple bearish divergence on your MACD as well. Setting up for, it already had triple bearish divergence on your RSI, looking, I don't know, rounding off on your stochastics. Wonder what the one-day chart looks like. One-day chart doesn't look as bad, to be honest. I mean, it could easily set up here for some serious bearish divergence, but it can also set up for like double bullish here. That looks worse. That looks pretty bad. And that looks not good either. So, moral of the story, be careful. Back to the good old Bitcoin. What time is it? How long have we've been going for about an hour here. Alright, so let's run through Bitcoin here one more time. And I'll take any questions that you guys might have, and then we will end the live stream here. Thanks, bud. GG. Good luck to all. Again, yeah, wish the best luck to everyone. So with this thing making its final push over here, I mean, we'll see. I'll be preparing my short. Here, we'll move this arrow just a little bit so we can see that. Dude, I'm watching this thing closely. I'm about ready to short it. It's about to enter my target zone too. So I'll probably wait for this thing to start rounding off a little bit, probably get closer to resistance, and then I'll, you know, most likely put a short in. I mean, I don't see why I wouldn't. This would be a prime example of where I like to short things. Maybe it breaks out, you know, but I'm willing to take the risk here. I've been waiting patiently for it to get to this area, and now that it's actually playing into all the targets I set, like I drew this stuff up days ago, and it's playing right into it, so stick to the plan. So yeah, you know, I would say I could definitely see myself entering a short on like Bitcoin or some of the altcoins here. My sell is at 40.39. That's a 70. That is exactly what our price is right now. Funny enough. One BTC or XRP? Oh man. I would say holding one Bitcoin safer, but I think holding one XRP could potentially earn you more money. So one's riskier, one has a higher reward. It's all about what you like more. Are you a risky guy or are you a safe guy? BTC could go up like 4 times and XRP could go up like 10 times its worth. So Brandon Paris says, appreciate the info. I just sold my BTC. I don't want to get greedy. I mean, I don't. Here's the deal, Mr. Ed. I don't sell my BTC, and I can't tell you what to do with your money. But I will never. I can't say I'll never, but like, I won't sell my Bitcoin for years to come. I'll short the market, but I'll hold it. You know, I'll be shorting Bitcoin. I don't tether anymore. I don't stablecoin anymore. If anything, I'll just short the market, but I'll continue holding my Bitcoin because, you know, in the case that I'm wrong, Bitcoin goes up in value still. But yeah, I mean, you know, we'll see here. We will see. It's a risky area. I don't like trading in these areas because they're risky, but this is a risky trade that I'm willing to take. I can't tell you guys what to trade, but I can say this is a risky trade that I'm willing to take. So I'll probably, before I go to sleep tonight, I can't say I will or I won't, but if you guys are a Patreon, I will keep you guys updated on whether or not I take this trade. I mean, I don't see why I wouldn't, but everything's looking pretty clean at the moment. So this is where, oh man, see, this really gets me confused, dude, because if I don't want this thing to tank, but it just looks like it straight up will, it doesn't care about my feelings. Because that would mean, yeah, and there's the rejection candle. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. You guys see how that's, oh, not fun. Right from our resistance line. XRP could still break out. It's done it before. Even, like, it's done it before. When like Bitcoin and stuff's going down, dude, this thing could still moon. But I don't know. It's risky. I'm not trading any altcoins right now, that's for sure. If anything, I'll just stick to a Bitcoin. It's almost like a rising wedge too, because if you draw it up like this or something, oh my gosh, yeah. You can see that the price is getting squeezed up here. So like, even if we just draw it like that, you can see that the price is getting squeezed up in this wedge formation. Yeah, man. I don't like it. Do not like it. Actually, I'm gonna keep that there. I like that. XRP says, I'm a safe mate. Yeah, dude, so I don't know, that's just the way I view it, and I think that Bitcoin is safer, but it's less rewarding, when altcoins are more rewarding, but they're not as safe. So that's just the way that I view these things. Thanks for all the info. Yeah, absolutely, man. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys did, hit that like button, you know, drop a like on the video, hit the sub button, share it with some friends. But that is pretty much it for the TA over. Oh, I know one thing I have left. Thing that I do at all the end of all my live streams. So I think I've been streaming here for about an hour and 10 minutes. So hopefully you guys did enjoy all the info. All that I ask is that you guys stay for my little pitch over here. This is the 2 minutes where I show my Patreon. So if you guys don't know what Patreon is, this is the Patreon. This is how I essentially really are compensated for all the work that I do. There's 2 tiers to it. There's the tier 2 supporter, which is essentially every 2 weeks you guys get to vote on a new video topic. You guys create the topics and then you guys vote on them, and whatever one has the most votes, I actually make a video about on my YouTube. The tier 1 supporter is the one that most of you guys are probably interested in. This is where I give Bitcoin updates. You guys get extra technical analysis from me because there's only so much I can do on my YouTube, and videos take a while. So if you guys want more content from me, the tier 1 support is really where it is, because I give more Bitcoin technical analysis. I give updates explaining where I believe Bitcoin's going and why. Really just my personal insight on the market. I teach technical analysis through like examples of trading patterns that happen. I say this is the pattern that happened, this is why it happened, this is what it means. I go through critiquing of your cryptocurrency charts, and I give constructive criticism and feedback. Basically, people will bring charts to me. They'll say, hey, what do you think about this chart? What are your thoughts on this? Did I draw this up right? Am I missing anything? And I kind of go through that with them and say, hey, this is the way I would look at it. This is what I think it is. Stuff along those lines. Again, personal tips. So trading tips, like one of the big things that you guys will hear me say a lot on stream, I'll say in there in the personal tips section, there's a time to make money, and there's a time not to lose money. Little things like that. Short. Obviously you will want to lean towards shorting resistance, long support, just like the little things. The last points are my complete and insight on current and future market movements, bonus access to me for questions that you might have. I think that's one thing that a lot of people like, is just for any questions and bonus and insight, and being like, hey, how do I work this? Or am I doing this right? Am I setting up these limit orders right? A lot of people like having just that bonus access to me. And then the final one that's actually not on here, I don't know why, is that you guys get access to any trades that I might take. And really anything that I'm looking into. So it's pretty cool. There's a link to this in the description down below. If you guys are interested, go click that. It's a link down in the description below. Again, I do not tell people how to invest their money or where to invest their money. I simply say, this is what I like. This is what I'm looking at. These are the trades I'm entering. I can't stop you from, I can't stop you from just copying everything I do, but I do want to make it clear that this is not me telling people where to invest their money. It's a lot of just having my complete insight on the market, rather than just getting the limited that you do get from the YouTube channel. Because YouTube, it might take me 2 hours to make a video when I could write up 2 technical analyses in Patreon in 30 minutes. So it's pretty cool. If you guys want to join that, I will post a link right here, if you guys are interested. Yeah, so hopefully you guys did enjoy the TA and everything. I'm sorry I had to show on my Patreon. It's what I do at the end of every live stream. Hopefully the 1 hour TA justifies the 3 minutes of shilling. Can you send me the link? Absolutely. There you go. The fall has started. Oh my gosh. We just moved. We didn't really move that much, but I'm telling you, we hit my zone. I'm satisfied. But yeah, hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys did, if you guys have any questions, do not. Oh, also, if you guys want to join the Discord, that is completely free. Join the Discord. It's like where the community resides. It's really cool. There's a lot of us in there, and we have like sections for people who are leverage trading, sections for people who are just, in crypto, general chat, swing trading rooms. It's really cool. You get to talk to the community and myself in there a lot, and there's a lot of cool people. So if you guys want to join that, that is the Discord in the description down below, and that is completely free. Besides that, guys, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.